Hello, my name is Joel or Escaner Jr. and we will tackle about the biodiversity and the wildlife conservation. But now let's start talking about biodiversity. Biodiversity has two meanings. Bio means life and diversity means variety. If we put it together, biodiversity means variety of life. So, the term biodiversity was first coined by Walter G. Rosen in 1986. The biosphere comprises of a complex collection of innumerable organisms known as the biodiversity, which constitute the vital of life support for survival of human race. So biodiversity is a variety of all living things on Earth, including plants, animals, microorganisms, and ecosystems they formed. It covers the difference between species, within species, and between ecosystems. Now, there are three types of biodiversity. First is diversity of species. Species diversity was a variety of species within the ecosystem, like plants, animals, fungi, or microorganisms in the forest. Second is diversity of ecosystem. Ecosystem diversity is a variety of ecosystem like forest, desert, ocean, wetlands, etc. And lastly is diversity of genes. The genetic diversity is the variety of genes within the species, like different breeds of dogs or a rice variety. Now, what are the benefits of biodiversity? First is the consumption values. So what is the consumption value means? It refers to the importance or worth on that consumer place on a product based on what they expect to gain from using it. So we have here a foods or drinks, fuels, medicine, buttercrop varieties, or industrial materials like metal, wood, cement, concrete, and etc. Now, the second is the non-consumption values. Now, we have here recreation. So, recreation provides natural areas like forests, beaches, and parks that many people really enjoy for doing activities like hiking, swimming, ecotourism, or bird watching, something like that. This experience promotes mental and physical well-being. Second is education and research. It offers us endless opportunities of scientific discovery and learning, like studying plants, animals, ecosystems, and it really helps us understand life. Maybe some researchers right now develop some new medicine or even solving environmental problems. Now, next is traditional value. Well, many communities have deep cultural or spiritual and traditional connection to nature. So, biodiversity support traditional knowledge, practices, belief passed down to generation by generation to help preserve the cultural heritage. Now, let's talk about the threats of biodiversity. In natural causes, we have the narrow geographical area. So why the narrow geographical area is the threat to biodiversity? Like a species live in a limited or isolated areas like island or mountaintops are more vulnerable to extinction because any change in their habitat that can wipe them out completely. Next is the low population. Species with small population has more greater risk of extinction due to inbreeding, limited genetic diversity, and vulnerability to diseases or environmental changes. Next is the low breeding rate. Just like I said, species that reproduce slowly or produces few offspring may not recover quickly from population declines, making them more vulnerable to extinction. And last is natural disaster. We all know what natural disaster is. It's an event like earthquake, floods, volcanic eruption, and also wildfire that destroy habitats and eliminates large numbers of plants and animals. Another threat to biodiversity is the anthropogenic causes. First, we have the habitat modification. It means that the human activities like deforestation, agricultural destroy, making them unsuitable for any species to survive. Next is the overexploitation of selected species, like excessive hunting, fishing, harvesting a certain species can lead to a population declines or extinction, especially when it's faster than their ability to reproduce. Next is poaching. What poaching means? It is an illegal hunting or capturing an animals or capturing a wild animals. Especially they're often to their skin and other body parts of other body parts to sell it, and it puts many endangered species at serious risk. Next is pollution. Pollution like chemicals, plastics, waste, air pollutants that can affect the health and the survival of many species. Next is hunting, and at last global warming and climate change. Now let's talk about the wildlife conservation, and that will be discussed by Miss Crucial Econar and Miss Alea Aquilam.
So, good morning, ma'am. My name is Crucial Econar, and I will continue the report. We will tackle about the wildlife conservations. Wildlife includes all non-domesticated plants, animals, and other organisms. Wildlife can be found in all ecosystems, deserts, rainforests, plains, and other areas, including the most developed urban sites, all have distinct form of wildlife. So, wildlife conservation is a way of protecting all non-domesticated plants, like zebras, orangutans, great white shark, elephants, and various bird species. And also, wildlife conservations protect non-domesticated plants and other organisms such as most fungi, bacteria, and many insects like silkworms and honeybees. So, ang wildlife conservations gahelp ni siya sa ma-prevent tong mention nga animals mapapadung sa extinct animals or mawala ang mga species. Ang wildlife conservation makita ra in all ecosystem like desert, rainforest, and even plains. So, natay given reasons for endangerments. First is habitat destruction. Most critical factors in species extinctions, there are 20% less forest cover than existed 300 years ago. So, mao ni siya ang ikaduhang most critical factors in species extinctions. Ga-cause ni siya og loss of resources sa mga species like if the habitats destroyed possible nga mawad-an sila og resources like foods, water, and maguba ang ilang shelter. That will make them weak and gone that leads to endangerment. So, we also have another major cause of species extinctions, the poaching and hunting. They are both involved sa pagpatay sa mga animals. Not just in the forest, but it also area where they can kill animals. Naapod sila differences in which is hunting. Ang hunting, a legal pursuit typically for meat, recreations, or populations control, unregulated by laws and permit. While ang poaching is illegal and dili ni siya regulated by law. And sometimes, i-involve ni siya violating those laws and gapatay ni sila mga animals like for their own motives or ilang sariling kagustuhan and maybe sa money or illegal trading. Next is another reasons for endangerment, national and international wildlife trade. First is speed trade. Speed trade is it is a business of buying and selling animals that may cause them to hurt their numbers and may affect their populations. Second is fur trade. It is activity or hunting and trapping animals, especially katong animals nga with valuable fur may trade to endangerments. Next is meat trade. Both ni siya sa legal and illegal. Sometimes it goes or harvesting and other negative impact that leads to endangerments. Next, body parts trade. It is a major threat to all the endangerment. Numerous species like, for example, rhino horn. When hunter overhunt, it may risk to rhino populations toward extinctions. Next, last is trade for biomedical research. It may lead to overharvest wild populations leading to endangerment. That's all. Thank you.
Let me introduce myself. I am Alaya in Aquilam. So I'll be the one to continue about the discussion entitled about biodiversity and wildlife conservation. So together with my group mates, Ms. Crystal Econar and Mr. Joel Escaner Jr., I'll be the one to tackle about or discuss to you about the endangered animals. So first, we all know that animals are part of biodiversity as the living organisms. So when we talk about endangered animals, it is the species facing a high risk of extinction. So when we talk about extinction, another term, it is what we call loss. It is primarily due to all human activities, including deforestation. We all know that forests are or is the place where animals are living. The second one is the habitat loss. When we talk about habitat loss, it is the reduction or elimination of natural environments where species live and reproduce. One of the best example of this is the forest. For example, where snakes live, where other animals live. So it is what we call the habitat loss. The second one is overexploitation. So overexploitation occurs when renewable resources is used at a rate faster. Next is the pollution. Pollution in air, in water, also in land, where animals also experiencing or that are being interacting with garbages in water, in land. So these are the human activities that can harm the animals, also the endangered animals or the animals that are decreasingly over and over. So one of the examples of the animals that are or the endangered animals, first is the Bengal tiger, second one is the black rhino, the third one are the whales. So the endangered animals, we can conserve, we can prevent of losing these animals by the following prevention. Number one is thus educate ourselves. We science majors or we humans need or there is a need of educating ourselves. We talk about educating ourselves. It includes self-respect. It includes being responsible not only for ourselves but also for the all human or the all livings that are living organisms that we see, we interact, and we engage daily. The second one is to support conservation organization. When we talk about conservation, it is to conserve all the living organisms in a certain place, or there are organizations that conduct to support animals, support the production of plants. The third one is to reduce environmental impact. Reducing environmental impact, first one of this is to plant a tree, save more resources in order for the animals that live in that certain place can be conserved and they can use that resources in order for them to live. Next is to choose sustainable products. So when we buy at the market, there is practicality. So to prevent the animals being risked to extinction is that we should buy products that are eco-friendly, that they cannot harm the environment, they cannot harm the living organisms living in a certain area, and also to protect or to prevent pollution. So it is very crucial, we humans, to have a being has a self-respect, so that so that all the living organisms are being protected. So to save the endangered animals, we need to conserve the habitat by embracing the practices that do not harm the environment. So biodiversity has different variety, including plants. So we talk about plants. It is crucial for our health and also to the future of our children. So many plants species around the world are facing threats of extinction. Not only the animal, not only the humans, but also the plants. Now, so the following is the example of endangered species of plants, as you can see in the screen. So food is the primary source of energy in humans. That's why without food, we can't eat. Also, the animals cannot eat. It is because it is the primary source of our food, plants. But the crucial role of plants, it can provide us with the air that we breathe, the food that we eat, and also the materials used for the shelter and clothing. Second one is that habitat and biodiversity. So we all know that plants plays a crucial role in humans, such as it can regulate the climate, it can help protect us from the direct exposure in sun. Third one is the soil conservation. So plants such like trees can help to prevent flood or to erode the soil. The soil conservation is that it can prevent the soil from being eroded, or there are listed plants that are being endangered. These plants face various challenges, including habitat loss, climate change, and overexploitation. Plants serve as the foundation of most ecosystems and providing essential resources of all living organisms. The first one is it produces oxygen. When we talk about producing oxygen, it is the oxygen production and atmosphere regulation. So during the process of photosynthesis, plants convert carbon dioxide into oxygen. This process is called respiration, where most of all living organisms experiencing, including plants and humans. So as species are lost, so too are options for future discovery and advancement. So the impacts of biodiversity loss include clearly into a fewer medicines, greater vulnerability to natural disasters, and greater effects from global warming. So it is very alarming that these plants are loose, or these plants are decreasingly over the time. So as we learn different lessons in our class, we are required to use this or to apply these lessons in our daily routine. So let us conserve the plants, any other kind of plants, as it is the primary source of our living. So stop buying wildlife products and conserve nature. This will be the end of my discussion. Again, I am Alaya in Aquilam. I hope you are learning from what I have discussed to you.